Good morning, Delegate Arakan. Hi, ladies.
The roads were a little slick this morning when I was coming in from Cape St. Clair.
Yes.
Little ice rinky.
Are you in the same house this year?
Yeah, we got the same house again. It's the right size for our family, you know.
Nice.
Yeah, we don't mind being a little bit outside of Annapolis. Kids wanted a backyard. I mean,
Yeah.
but still, just in case.
Maybe we'll get to play in the snow today.
Yeah, they'll love that.
Cindy, Lauren,
Yes.
if everybody could please mute, we are live now.
Okay.
Okay, welcome. Delegate Teresa Riley, Chair of the Harford County Delegation. And the meeting is now open and streamed live for our public view. And I'm going to start us in a word of prayer. Lord, thank you for this opportunity to serve you and the great people of the state of Maryland, and especially for those of Baltimore, Cecil, and Harford County. We hope that you will continue to be with us, give us the wisdom, and have us do the right thing for the people of Maryland. Your name, amen. And then we're going to have Delegate Shalega, if everyone could please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Delegate Shalega, for that. The meeting is now called to order. Again, welcome everyone and those that are viewing. Again, keep your comments short and sweet and to the point. And also with our discussion, we have a large agenda today. We're going to do our new business first, if you have the agenda in front of you. And we do have two things that we have to do in reference to our local government with our county executive. So the first is the appointment of the Harford County Liquor Control Board. We received the letter from the county executive, and we are going to have Mr. Larry Richardson, who is with us today, who is the Policy Director and Legislative Affairs for the county executive, Barry Glassman. So Mr. Richardson, if you could please do the liquor board letter first, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, Madam Chairman, members of the delegation, thank you all very much for the opportunity today. Lawrence A. Richardson Jr. on behalf of the county executive. As I said, what you have before you, have two items I'm here to assist in presenting today. One will be an appointment to the liquor board. Current member, Ms. Davis Cole, term will be expiring. So the county executive has selected Susan Burdett as the individual to fill that seat once Ms. Davis Cole's term is over. You should have her application before you. And we very firmly believe Ms. Burdett will be a very strong and beneficial choice to fill the role that Ms. Davis Cole has met. As you can see by the attachment, Ms. Burdett has got a very well-rounded background, both in government through the town of Bel Air, in education, small business owner, a parent, longtime resident of the area. So we present that to you today and respectfully request your consideration and a favorable vote on Ms. Burdett as a nominee. Any questions? Okay, thank you all very much.
Hold on, Mr. Richardson, I do see a couple questions. Sorry, it takes a while for us to see the hands. That's okay.
Sorry about that.
I do see a hand from Delegate McComas. Yeah, Susan, unmute yourself.
I just want to say I think she's going to be a very excellent board member. She lives in the town of Bel Air. I served with her husband on the town board. I think that because I know there's been some concern that we have maybe too many liquor establishments in Bel Air. I think she will have she'll be very tuned into that concern that has been expressed by several of the delegation members. So I just want to nominate her or move to approve her county executive appointment.
Okay. Don't see any other hands at this point, but before we go to a second, I just Delegate McComas. So your motion, I believe we have to do it this way, and then Charity can verify. So the motion to move forward would be to consent to the appointment of Susan Burdette to the Harford County Liquor Control Board. So Charity, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so do we have a second? Okay, I see a hand with Delegate Impalaria. Delegate Impalaria, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, for discussion purposes.
Okay,
Like I said, I've been here 18 years.
okay, well, okay.
Wait, hang on.
Well, wait a minute,
Just very quick.
Charity. Wait a minute, Charity, do I need a second before we go into
I
discussion?
thought you had one. I thought you had one.
I don't
didn't
have a
see a second.
second. I don't
I'll
have a
give you
second yet.
There you go. I'll give you a second.
Oh, okay, so now
I'll
you
give you
can,
2 seconds if you want.
now
3.
you can, now you can go into
So,
discussion.
originally, and I know many of you are new, originally the county executive had to give 3 names. We would look through those 3 names and then we would choose, which made the liquor board a little more beholden to the delegation. Also, during that time, there were names that were set down that we got Attorney General's opinions that they probably shouldn't serve in those positions, that there was a conflict of interest. So, now we don't have that choice anymore. I think we need to that choice. So, we're going to go ahead with this vote, but I think we really need to go back, giving us the authority to choose, because right now we get a name, we accept it, and we pretty much have always accepted whatever came down, good, bad, or ugly. So that's what I have to say on it.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Blair. So we do have a first from Delegate McComas. We have a second from Delegate Impalaria, and now we will take the vote. Move the motion by vote.
Delegate McComas,
Aye, or yes, approved.
Delegate Arakan,
Aye.
Delegate Griffith,
Yes.
Delegate Impalaria,
Yes.
Delegate Johnson,
Aye.
Delegate Lasanti. Aye. Delegate Shalega,
Yes.
Delegate Riley,
Yes. Yes.
Senator Gallion,
There's no Delegate Gagan.
He said Senator.
Senator.
I'm a yes, thank you. Yes.
Are there any other
Okay.
senators here? I don't see any.
Okay, and we do have, I was able to make the exception for the senators. This vote does require the Senate and the House vote, which would be a total of 11. And we do have an email from the senators. All 3 senators voted yes. So
Then the motion would
now you
pass.
for popping in to us. So the motion has passed unanimously. Okay,
Madam Chair, I have a question.
yeah, yes, Delegate.
Again, for some reason, my reactions are not allowing a hand raise.
Okay, well, okay, Delegate Lasanti, okay, if you're, because it's different versions of Zoom, I am told. So if your hand motion is not on the reactions part, go over to the block where it says participants, go down to the very bottom. Do you see?
Yeah, it still doesn't give me that. I'll work with that with staff. So
Okay,
I'll put my hand up.
All right.
But just a quick question about, while we're on this subject, Delegate Impalaria brought up an interesting topic about how we do the nominations or the appointments for the liquor board. Did we change that did we have a vote of, did we change that by a bill? I don't recall.
Yes.
That-
If I answer
Yes,
it.
yeah, well, let,
Delegate Jennings.
Delegate Blair, hold on.
Delegate Lasanti, under section 22-202 of the code, says it's section,
I know where it is in the law,
One,
but I'm asking the legislative history, Mr.
Okay, so now I will
I-
go to
if
Delegate
I-
Impalaria.
If I
You were there.
recall, it's been changed relatively recently, and I'm trying to remember the legislative history.
Okay, Delegate
Yeah.
Impalaria.
Senator Jennings introduced the bill. I was opposed to the bill. I believe quite a few of us were, but it had enough votes to pass. And I guess that, some people decide to give their authority away from other people because for whatever reasons, they just don't want to take the responsibility. I liked having responsibility.
It was
No.
relatively recently. That was my question.
Yes,
I'll look it
yes.
up. Thank you.
Yes, so then we can discuss that when we actually
Yeah. Sure.
in an actual bill
Thank you.
legislation.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome. Okay, Mr. Richardson, move on to the transportation priority list.
If Madam Chair, members of the delegation, again, thank you very much. You have before you today a copy of the a draft copy of what we would hope to be submitting to the Secretary of Transportation relative to our FY22 priority request. What you will see, I sent down several items when you have the draft cover letter, which pretty much it gives you some textual descriptors of the actual submissions. You have the color map that will give you an aerial view of the selections that we have sent down. I have also included a chart where what you have there is a comparison of what was sent this year as opposed to what was sent last year. As you'll notice, most of the items that were submitted last year have been resubmitted for this year. The only real changes that you'll see if you do the comparison, what we had is item number 5 last year, which was a Maryland 924 park and ride lot. That is not in this package. That is because the state has already taken that project under adoption. So it's the I-95 Section 200 project, and the state is actually working on that now. So we have removed that. We have added 4 additional locations. You'll see items 15 through 18. The Bel Air circulation improvements, the US 40, and the shared use path. Wait, I can do this. I'm sorry. Number 17, Bel Air to the Harford Community College Trail, and the intersection. The number 18 is the intersection of 165 and Dooley Road. So also too, with that chart, what I've done is been able to give you a breakdown as to what that, in the ranking order, what the category is and what the estimated production costs for those items are. We have, what essentially has been indicated to us is that the state has little or no funding towards advancement or completion of most of these items. We are again stressing with the state and with the secretary that these are items that are of import, of critical import, we believe, to the county. So we are, again, now what we have done is that we have expedited, and I do apologize for this being in draft format. And I know one of the items we got down to you late yesterday, we're about a month ahead of when we normally have done this. This was all presented last year, about mid-March. We tried to expedite the process up this year to get it to you for review and to solicit any additionals, which we had asked if they had any areas, any sections in your area that, any projects in your area that may need consideration. So I present that to you today. I can try to ask any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Richardson, for that update. And now I will take any questions from our panel. Okay, I see one from Delegate McComas. Please unmute yourself and then speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Richardson, I don't have the latest of the latest, and I'm not going to, and since we don't have to make any decisions, I've got 1 through 17, but I don't have the letter, the proposed letter. So I have priority 1 through 17. So if you can just get that to me, since we don't have to make a decision today, I'm assuming, then I'm good with that. So I need the letter and make sure I've got, and then your chart. So thank you very much.
Delegate, I do apologize for that. I will definitely get those to you as when we're finished our conversation this morning.
Delegate McComas, those should have, you should have received those late last night.
Email, she got them last.
They were emailed last night.
Delegate McComas, we cannot hear. Okay.
I pardon everyone, but my seatmates, Miss Delegate Arkin and Delegate Griffith, we were up till about midnight in a hearing, so I didn't look for it this morning, so I apologize.
That's okay. Perfect. Okay, thank you, Delegate McComas and Cindy, for that follow-up. Do I see any other hands or questions on the transportation priority list? I do know that this year we had the opportunity, which we thank you and the county executive for giving that to us ahead of time and going over that and asking for any priorities that we needed in there. And I believe that all of those that the delegates and senators put forth to you and the county executive are included in this package. So thank you for that.
Mhm.
And you have anything else before we move on?
No, ma'am. If anyone has any questions subsequent to this meeting, please don't hesitate. You have my email, you have my cell phone. As you all know, my cell phone surgically attached and always on. So please don't hesitate to call.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us today and give us the information that you brought forth. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, members of the delegation, thank you all very much.
Okay, so that is our new business. So we're going to move on to old business, and we need to, I need a motion to approve the minutes from last week. And a second.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, hold on. Delegate Griffith, say your name.
Oh, sorry, Delegate Griffith.
Thanks. And then who was the second?
Delegate Imperio.
Delegate Blair, thank you, is the second on that. Okay, so we have a motion to minutes, and just everybody kind of like raise your hand in the pane. We don't have to do a roll call. Everybody. Delegate Blair, you say, okay. Delegate Lasanti, yes. Okay, so everybody else. All right, thank you very much. The motion to approve the minutes has passed. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the bill, HB 283, which is the Harford County Board of Education, terms of appointed members. So we have had a lot of discussion on this for the last, I believe this is the 5th week. So we had the last, bring everybody back. We had a motion that was Delegate Imperio, Delegate Johnson on an amendment. So do we have discussion on that particular, I know last week we tabled that once again. So do we have a motion to move forward on that, or we do not, or do we have any discussion on that? Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the bill as amended.
Okay, so which, you had to be specific on which amendment. We had amendment last week that is different from apparently an amendment that I've seen this week from.
Well, none of us have seen the amendment from this week. I guess if we're talking about the amendment, which clarifies, there was a couple mistakes in the amendment. And if it's a clarifying amendment, yes, I move favorable on the bill with the clarifying amendment.
Okay, Delegate McComas, question. You have to unmute yourself. You have to, Delegate McComas, please unmute yourself.
I
Okay.
don't have a question. I think I think we saw that there were some problems and wanted to change some. So I think the bill in its proper right now is that the one elected position at large for 4 years, and they would be the chair. And since then, I wanted that changed. And so, but I think that's what was originally drafted and prepared. So that's really what we're dealing with this first time. To our council, who's really worked very hard on this. So that's kind of the first one. We've got to, decide what we're doing with that, I guess. So is that
Okay.
correct? Ms.
Okay,
Scott?
If someone makes a motion, if someone seconds the motion, yes.
so Delegate McComas, okay, hold on one second. I have a question from Delegate Shalega. Unmute. Yep.
Thank you. Can you, Delegate Imperio, tell us exactly what you made the motion on? Is this the amendment from last week that we've seen that has that's the only thing before us, right?
Yeah, it's my understanding that there was a clerical error in the message, which Ms. Scott corrected that clerical error. Is that right?
Well,
It's more than a clerical error.
the issue was the at-large member being the chair by law. And Delegate McComas wanted me to change that. So I redrafted the amendments to one member. Actually, she got rid of the the seventh elected member at large and made it an appointment by the governor at large. So instead of.
Okay, so that we haven't,
one appointee.
correct.
And
So
it
we
wouldn't
haven't
be
voted.
Sorry?
Okay, so my understanding, there was a not that amendment that you're talking about. My understanding, there was a clerical mistake that Delegate Johnson had brought up and Delegate McComas had brought to you. And it was that the person only serves for 1 year.
Yes, that was taken care of.
That was taken care of. So my motion is on the original amendment that we did and I'm moving that forward. And I'm talking, when I'm saying as fixed or as re-amended was correcting that clerical error. So I'm moving that we vote on the bill as originally amended. Now, if someone wants to offer other amendments after we do that, we can do that.
All right, so just to be clear, so I understand Delegate Impalaria, you are making a motion to approve the House Bill 283 as was amended by you and Delegate McComas. That is 6 elected by council district, 1 elected at county at large.
Correct.
That's what okay, so that is what
Correct.
we've made a motion on. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Can I add to that?
Yes, please do.
Okay, so a member elected at large in the original set of amendments would automatically be the chair of the board. So the president and vice president provisions were stricken and replaced with a chair and vice chair. The member at large would serve 1 term of 4 years. And then there's also a study put in the bill to study the compensation of the board and whether it's appropriate. And yeah, so that's basically the amendment.
And so in my position, move the amendment as I just said. If someone wants to move the bill as amended, because the amendment's been passed, but to move the bill as amended, if someone else wants to then offer another amendment, I don't have a problem with that. But I think we should move the bill as
So
amended.
you're moving the bill as amended with your amendment that we just discussed.
Correct, Delegate Szeliga.
Mary Ann has a question. You're on mute, Delegate.
I was waiting to be.
Delegate Lasanti.
Chair, thank you. Thanks, though. Charity, you just confused, I think you confused me a bit by interjecting another set of amendments that possibly could be offered. That is not in Delegate Impalaria's motion currently, is that correct?
That's correct. We're talking about the original set of amendments.
Okay, I mean, I recognize that late last night there was some other alternatives flying around. So let's not confuse what is currently on the table, recognizing that there are other ideas being circulated as well. Thank you.
That is correct, Delegate Lasanti and Delegate Impalaria. There are several amendments that we have been sent around. That's why we needed to set clear exactly which amendment Delegate Impalaria was talking about. By any chance, Charity, do you know that amendment number so that we can go back and verify which one we're actually voting on?
Yes, it's HB 283/336415/1.
Okay, and that is the original amendment that we had last week from Delegate McComas and that we tabled for this week.
Correct.
Oh, correct that.
Correct.
That's the second set of amendments. I apologize. Let me give you the number
okay.
again. Okay. No, never mind. That's the right number.
Okay,
336415/1.
okay. All right, so that's that one, which is, I'll just recap. So everybody knows that's the 6 in-district elected, Their terms end at the end of 2022. And then they serve for 4 years. And then there is one that is appointed by the governor. And that, I'm sorry, that elected, I'm sorry,
At large.
appointed now is elected at large, and that person is the chair, and we delete the other 2 appointeds. So we're down from 9 to 7.
Yes.
Well, we delete the 3
then-
appointed and add. So we're deleting all.
Yeah,
No.
all 3, and then making one
Yes,
elected by countywide. And
yes.
we have the study on there for the compensation and so on and so forth. Okay. And I have a first from Delegate Impalaria. Did I see a? Okay, I do not see a second, so that amendment fails. Okay. Be quicker. I see Delegate Johnson actually gave us a second. So Cindy, if you write that down, and then now we will actually, if you would have the roll call.
You want discussion first? Anyone want discussion?
I think we
Yeah.
just,
Well,
Okay.
I'm gonna,
okay, Delegate Ericon.
so, I'm really uncomfortable with an at-large member because as many of us know, it's extremely difficult for us to get quality conservative candidates to run for these spots. As we've seen, our schools have been closed now for 11 months. People that we thought gave a crap about our kids clearly don't. So I can't even imagine how expensive a full countywide race would be to get this at-large member. And I'm just trying to rack my brain for what groups could fund an at-large candidate, because I certainly can't do it. I have my own race to run. But I think probably somebody like the teachers union could do it. So we could end up with a teachers union candidate as our fixture president of our school board. And that is totally unacceptable to me. So I will be a red vote on this amendment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Arcan. And now I see Delegate Shalega is next. Please unmute. Yep.
Yep, thank you, Madam Chair. I did have some input from the community. I am, as I stated last week, very concerned that we haven't had broad community input. And we will not have a hearing on this in the House because this bill already had a hearing. So by amending the bill that already had a hearing, there is no hearing in the House. And the input that I've gotten, especially with a Zoom call that I had with community leaders, they are opposed to this. And because there has definitely not been adequate input, and because of the, and I've gotten lots of emails asking to not pass this, I'm urging us to vote no on this.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Shalega. I have next Delegate Susan McComas. Please unmute. Unmute.
Okay, I have had a chance to speak with the senators, and their position on the bill is entirely different, and they've come up with a different solution. I know that I have decided that it's not a good idea to have the person run at large. I spoke with one of the school board members, and they provided some really important input to change my mind. So I understood that you can't run a countywide race for a school board. I do realize that they work very, very hard and spend a lot of time. So that's why that salary study got put on. And if you looked at my latest version,
Okay, Delegate.
I'm just saying, I had asked for a,
Right.
let me finish.
Well,
I
no,
had
because
asked-
you're moving on to the next amendment, which we will discuss.
Well,
but-
but I'm just saying it's a moving target. And so we're
Right.
back
got
at
it.
something that really has progressed to
Let's
something
stick-
else.
We have
And
to
the
stick to
Senate
the
has
motion.
something different. That's
I
all
got
I'm
it.
saying. It's a
Okay,
moving
stick-
target.
Got it. Stick to the motion. All right. Thank you, Delegate McComas. We have Delegate Impalaria next, and then Delegate Griffith.
You know, I feel very comfortable, of course, with the amendment, and I've gotten tons of input and did a survey last week, which was 97% in favor of a fully elected school board. There is 19 fully elected school boards in the state of Maryland. I don't know why anyone would think that the citizens of Harford County are not capable of electing their own school board and need the help of a governor or a county executive. after we pass this, anyone can offer an amendment, and I'm open to listen to the amendments. Of course, the problem with those amendments would be what Delegate Schleg has already brought up, that there's been no community input on those amendments. So we're right back to the starting board on if someone wants to offer an amendment to change the way it's been, or if the senators have a different plan, then they're really going against what Delegate Schleg wanted, that people have a right to speak out on this. So far, they've had 2 weeks to get in touch with me on this, and I haven't had anyone actually personally call me and say they're against it. I've had tons of people call me and say that they're for it. And I agree that there's a real problem with the school board, like Delegate Erican said. I personally think the superintendent should be fired. And obviously this school board is going to fire him. And
Okay,
obviously,
Delegate Blair, we have to.
so I'm comfortable.
Stick to the
So I'm
motion.
comfortable.
Thank you.
So I'm very comfortable with the
Delegate
motion. And I
Griffith.
think
Delegate Griffith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I've heard a lot of feedback from the community about this and then other issues with the schools this year. I've had a lot of feedback that support changing the Board of Education, but also a lot of people also want more input and feedback. So I would prefer to, I think it's prudent to hear what the other options are on the table. So I'll be voting no on this amendment so we can consider the other options.
Thank you, Delegate Griffith. I see Delegate Lasante, she had the little clapping up there. That worked.
I'm just
Okay.
being supportive of my fellow delegates.
All right, you have the
Thank
floor.
you. Thank you, Madam Chair. And let me start by saying thank you, Madam Chair, for originally pre-filing this bill back in October. And although I think it ended up creating a lot of community consternation, because the original bill, as we know, changed the term of the sitting members of the appointed, which has evolved into where we are today and 5 weeks of this delegation discussing this. And community groups and private citizens that don't belong to community groups, and a lot of people really, I guess, expressing their frustration with accountability with the school board. And at the end of the day, that is what this is all about. And how this board is formulated, I think there's still a lot of discussion to be had, because we are all receiving input and a lot of great ideas of how that works. But at the end of the day, I think we are all committed to creating a school board that works for the people. And that is the most important takeaway from this. And so I support this motion for one reason, because it continues the conversation and it continues the discussion. Without this amendment, the original bill would have gone forward and there would not have been 5 weeks of community input and discussion. So while it's been time consuming and caused a lot of community discussion and probably a lot of confusion among a lot of people, the result when we get there, however we get there, is going to be a better product. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Delegate Lasante. But I do want to set forth the original bill that we voted on in delegation had an amendment. The only thing that bill did was moved the electeds and the appointees in a staggered.
Well, but Delegate Riley, the original bill you filed, and then
That did not pass. We
With an
amended
different
it. So the
amendment.
original bill that
There
is
were
in
two-
this, Delegate
there were two.
Lasante, the bill that is in and was passed by this delegation and is currently sitting and had a hearing in the standing committee, that is, everyone terminates as current, and then the process was that it becomes a staggered term. That's all the bill did.
but that was different than what was original. We changed
That's
it.
not the bill that went to the standing committee. So you
Yeah,
can't
but it
say
was
that's
different
the
than what was
bill.
originally, right, we amended it, that's correct.
So, thank you.
That we did amend it.
Delegate
You're right.
Johnson, Delegate Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since we started this process, I think one of the issues we had is leadership wanted all the bills pre-filed this year, or as many as possible. And that really did not give us a chance to previously talk over a lot of bills and get together and get a lot of input from each other and the public. I've gotten public input on this bill in favor of and opposed to, so both. And then I hear a lot of other ideas from the senators, from other folks on how we should move forward with our Board of Ed. I'm just wondering if, since there's so many different versions and so many different opinions from the public, if we should move forward with this bill at all, or if we should withdraw this.
Okay, well, Delegate Johnson, right now we have a motion on the floor. We have a first amendment. We have to deal with that first.
All right, we'll deal with it. Thank you,
Okay,
Madam.
so you're
You have to
welcome.
vote the motion first, and then you take up that conversation.
Yeah. So we had a motion, we had a second, we had discussion. So now Cindy, if you would please take the roll call.
On the bill as amended,
On the bill as amended.
okay.
Delegate
So Charity
McComas.
Charity, is that good?
Yes.
Thank you.
Delegate McComas.
Aye.
Delegate Arakan.
No.
Delegate Griffith.
No.
I'm sorry, say that again.
No.
Thank you. Delegate Impalaria.
Yes.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Lasanti.
Yes.
Delegate Shalega.
No.
Delegate Riley.
No.
That's a 4-4 vote. Does not pass.
Okay, thank you. So it's a 4-4, so that motion, that amendment fails.
Fails.
Fails, yes. Okay, so moving on, do we need further discussion on the bill? Or do we have another motion at this time to vote
Oh,
on any other?
Madam Chair.
Delegate Lasanti.
Yes, and I'll pick up where I think Delegate Johnson was going with this, and I think that is the fact that we all have received so much input and so many really good ideas coming from the community. I think now is the time that we pull all the bills back, we sit and we create a forum, if we will, whether it's independently or as a delegation, to really to bring all of these ideas together and create a bill that works for the public and a really strong bill that they are looking for us to do. So that's my opinion.
Okay. Thank you, Delegate. So I have a Senator Gallion.
I believe Delegate Impleri had his hand up before I did.
Okay,
I don't, I know the senators are really a guest in this meeting with the two different bodies, but if you all were interested, I could tell you what we came up with for this bill on the Senate bill side, but I'll leave that up to you because I don't want to, crash your meeting, so.
okay. And then just since you brought that up, Senator Gallion, I have already, because Senator Castley had shared that, and we had sent your amendment out to the delegation along with the new one that Delegate McComas had. And since that time, I went ahead, in case that went forward today, have already cross-filed our delegation bill that is currently in the standing committee to conform to that Senate amendment. So thank you for that and for bringing that up.
Would you like me to explain it to the group now, or?
Yes, that'd be perfect timing.
Could I go first and then we get that?
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Senator. All right, so I think something needs to be done with the school board. Right now, we do have elected members on the school board. We can have the discussion with the public over the summer to determine if they still want elected or non-elected members on the school board. So it will not affect an election if we strip next year, if we strip the members that are appointed off of the school board. That will not affect the upcoming gubernatorial election. So that in that upcoming gubernatorial election, we could have a fully elected school board, or we could have a elected school board with one appointed member. That one appointed member could be appointed by the county executive, could be appointed by the county council, could be appointed by the governor. This is something that I think that we need to have a public conversation about. And unfortunately, you know, we didn't have this COVID going on. We didn't have the public screaming for the head of the superintendent. And, you know, so we have a totally new issue here. I know Delegate Szeliga was very clear that she wanted full input. She wanted people who didn't have the internet. And the only way that we're going to do that now is that we basically leave everything the way it is. Like Delegate Lasanti said, we don't pass anything this year. And next year, we can actually come back. And if the body decides and if the senators decide with us that they want to have an appointed 3 members as we have, we can do that. And we can do the staggered next year because that doesn't affect election. That has nothing to do with the election. And then if they decide they want 1 appointed, we can change it to that or no appointed. So we can do this all next year rather than pass something that no one really wants to seems like we're trying to placate just to say we did something. It would be a lot better if we did it right. We did it once and we spent the entire summer dealing with all the different stakeholders and come up with a bill that everyone agrees on, such as we did when we originally put the fully elected school board in. That was fully vetted and the public fully wanted that. And so I think that's the best solution to go forward with. And I think if we pass anything at this point, we're going right into the argument that Delegate Szeliga had in the very beginning that everyone should have a say in this. So to pass whatever the senators want, there's been no hearings on that whatsoever. And that there's been no public input on that. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. I do have Senator Gallion. I do quickly.
I have a point of information.
Hold on. I'm going to go to Delegate Szeliga and then I'll come back to
But a
Delegate.
point of information it supersedes that. Because you, Delegate Riley, let me understand what you just said. You just said, I believe, that the email we received last night, which was a copy of Senator Gallion's proposed amendments in the Senate, that you took those and created amendments to a delegation bill that is already in Ways and Means Committee that has not had discussion before this delegation, and you've already sent them to.
No, I have not sent. I have not sent those. That's what I told Senator Gallion.
That's why. Okay, that's why I need to understand what you said.
Not at all.
Please clarify that.
I have. That's why I didn't even send them to the delegation because I don't have the vote for that.
Oh,
So
okay.
That is just in the wings. And if after Senator Gallion is finished, and if that's something we want to take up, we can.
That's why I asked.
Yes.
Thank you for allowing me to clarify what I thought I heard.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Thank you.
Would not do that. Delegate Szeliga.
I'd like to defer to Senator Gallion first and then come back to me, please, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Thank you. Senator Gallion.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Along with the other senators, we've been kind of following the debate on this bill that's been occurring over the last several weeks. And honestly, personally, I would like to see an all elected school board. But I realize, you know, as the feedback's come in, people have different concerns and you're getting more and more feedback all the time. So ultimately, you know, I look at, you know, solutions. So Senator Castley, Jennings, and I finally got to sit down and meet about this earlier this week. And we looked at different ideas and different options for this bill. And we also looked for reference at what the other 23 counties in Baltimore City do. And in summary, Delegate Impleri mentioned earlier that there are 19 counties that currently have all elected school board, 4, including Harford, have hybrids, and Baltimore City is all appointed. So at that meeting earlier this week, we did come to a consensus of something that we all were ended up being happy with. And that would do really 2 things. First, it would change the person making the appointments to the county executive with approval of the county council instead of the governor. Our thought being this brings decisions closer to the local level. It also will require collaboration between the executive and legislative branches of county government. Honestly, if you follow the county council meetings, you know if people have a complaint about the school system or the school board, the public forum they go to is the county council meetings. And that's where they relay those things. So this would give the county council a say in the process. There's the main things it would do. The last thing, it would keep the staggered term where there are 3 appointed members chosen in the U.S. presidential election year. So I offered to our Senate delegation chair, Senator Castley, to introduce this bill on behalf of the Harford senators. Since I serve on Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs Committee, it makes sense for me to present it there. And originally, with the discussions you all had going on, we had a bill hearing date set for February. I worked with the committee chair. We pushed it back. The bill hearing will be on March 3rd. And that gives us almost 2 weeks, to kind of get that out there. If folks would like to sign up and testify on this, they'll be able to do it. I give them 2 weeks. I realize there's some concern about having meetings in the summer and so forth, but we're the elected representatives. I think that people entrusted us when they voted for us to be able to make certain decisions. And I feel comfortable going forward in this manner. And the final thing, I would just like to thank Charity Scott, who worked with us on getting these amendments, and she got them drafted really quickly. So I just wanted to thank Charity, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Senator Gallion. Now we'll go to Delegate Shalega and then Delegate Griffith.
Thank you. My questions have been answered by Senator Gallion.
Thank you, Delegate Griffith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just want to thank, this has been a difficult conversation, but an important conversation. I'm grateful for Delegate Schlegel's leadership on this to help us, try to find a solution that's going to slow down the process and get more public input. But we all agree we need to work on holding the Board of Education more accountable locally. I'm very grateful to my senator, Senator Gallion, for this bill. We're going to get it's going to get a public hearing, which we're really excited about. And it's going to bring in local control to have local appointments within this and still give us plenty of time to see if we want to remove the appointment process before the next round of appointments in 2024. So I think this is a great way to include the public, to hold the Board of Education accountable, and to reel in the local support. And I'm certainly grateful for Delegate Impalaria. I appreciate the fact that, you're joining us in our call to get more public input. I think it's wise, and I appreciate you joining us in that effort. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Griffith. And I see Delegate Impalaria.
Yeah, well, Delegate Griffith, thank you. And that's exactly the reason that I think that we shouldn't move forward. I think that we need public input. Historically, the school board has fought with the county executive over funding. So what this does, and I'm not trying to criticize one side or the other, but what you're looking at is you have a board who now has to operate with the county executive, and the county executive gets to stick 3 votes on there. So 3 votes are automatically his, which takes away the voting power of the public who elects those members. Now, maybe we'll have a great county executive who won't get involved. Maybe we won't. But once again, what you're doing, because of the fact that the county executive and the school board have to agree on this budget, it's no longer impartial because the county executive would actually have 3 votes on that school board. And for me, that's problematic. If he had 1 vote, I might be okay with that. But 3 votes for me is really problematic. And for that reason, I think that's something that really needs to be discussed with the public, because the public and the PTA are always fighting for more money for the schools. Meanwhile, the county executive is always trying to hold money back from the schools, and that's historically. So I'm just saying that's why I wouldn't support such an amendment unless it was fully vetted and discussed with the public.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Impalaria. I see 2 more hands. I'm not sure which. Cindy, do you know if Delegate McComas or Delegate Arcan?
I do not know.
Okay. Okay, Delegate Arcan.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
So the first thing I want to mention is that even if this bill, the Senate version, moves, time for us to, over the interim, as we all wanted to, still hold a hearing and discuss other options with the public. It doesn't preclude us from doing that. There's plenty of time for that. Also put in an emergency bill if we want to next session. So even if we change it this year, there's nothing that prevents us from changing it last year. So I mean next year. So I'm not sure. The things are not mutually exclusive. And the other thing I want to mention is that the executive is not the only one, I believe, in the Senate version that I read last night. It has to get approved by the county council. So it's not like some bully in the room is just going to throw 3 pro-county executive people on there and going to let that fly through the county council. That's not how it's set up. That's why there's multiple steps. So.
Okay. All right, I hate to shut you off, but thank you, Delegate Arcan. I did just hear the bells. So Delegate McComas had her hand up, and then also Delegate Lasanti. So if you're quick, we can take you, and then.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just briefly, I think what we should do is not deal with our bill and see what happens with the Senate bill, and let them go forward. They seem to have consensus, the 3 of them. I think we're all very intrigued with the work that the Senate has done. And because the bells are rung, we have to go. Anyway, I think that would be the way to do it, is just let the Senate run with it and see what happens.
Okay, thank you, Delegate.
It'll get the
Delegate
discussion in the
Lasanti.
community.
Delegate Lasanti.
Yeah, thank you. Just very quickly, I'll be interested in digging deep into the Senate's proposal, but I just want to caution our delegation in looking at the budget process, because the budget process and the ability of the county council to not be able to add, to only add to, by charter, only add to the school board's budget and not take away. There's some very specific charter restrictions. So that comes into play when you look at who appoints who and who confirms people to the Board of Education. So that's it. Thank you. We got to run.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Lasanti. So currently, just to get you all up to date, there was no motion on any other
Motion to-
amendment at
Motion
this
to
point.
adjourn.
Yes,
Motion to
and
adjourn.
then just, okay. I have a first.
Second.
Okay.
Griffith,
Thank
second.
you all.